Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Cosker. Cake Mania 2. Now it may not be to you, but to me, this is the OG bakery game. When I was younger, my sister introduced me to a lot of fun games, like The Sims 2, Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass, and of course, Cake Mania. In fact, some of my favorite memories were watching her play these games for hours, and then eventually getting to play them for myself. Now, I remember playing the first two a lot, but not Cake Mania. Maybe I was just bad at the game and didn't play much, or maybe she was just gatekeeping it because it was hers. Both are very plausible. After all, this is the same sister who beat me up after she finally got her Club Penguin membership to work. And she did that when she was happy. But even though I didn't play this game much, I still remember it fondly. This game was actually really difficult to find, as it's not on Steam anymore. It took me like an hour of searching through sketchy websites for a version that actually worked, but eventually I ended up finding one and was finally able to download Cake Mania 2 and possibly several viruses as well. The game follows main character Jill Evans running various cake shops for her leech friends and sometimes the government, solving very serious life-threatening issues and conflicts with cake. That's right, nothing stops a war quite like a heart-shaped red velvet. The gameplay involves baking cakes, spray painting them, and topping them off with the Christmas ornaments no one buys. Once completed, you give them to the various stinky customers to receive money that you can put towards upgrading your shop. But be warned, as you have to manage your time effectively to deliver cakes before the customer runs out of patience. Today we will be playing this game in its entirety to see if I missed out all these years by never finishing it, or if I just downloaded a bunch of malware for nothing. So without further ado, let's get into it. Jill is stuck in a rut. After successfully buying back her grandparents' bakery, she's grown tired of the same old thing day in and day out. If only there was some way to get more out of life, to have some adventure that utilizes her extreme expertise in the cake baking field. After all, it's not like her grandparents still need help running the bakery. I mean, sure, grandpa has severe arthritis and grandma might have early stage dementia, but surely they'd be alright. Jill just needed something new. Cue friends. These two are a great example of why it's not always a good thing to know people. First, there's Risha. She explains that she's renting the rooftop of a high-rise for her new cafe, because you know the roof's where all the foot traffic is, and she needs to become the next hot dessert cafe to afford it. Only problem is she doesn't know how to run a dessert cafe and needs me to come fix it. Then there's Jack. Now this idiot bought a whole Subnautica base to start an underwater theme park and is now drowning both financially and physically. I mean, look how wet he is. Probably because his building is literally underwater. Go figure. And although his park is perfectly suited to host the Big Doofus convention, it's not very good at selling cakes. He's struggling and needs me to come fix it. Two of Jill's bestest pals, folks. I didn't really want to help either of these bums, but this was Jill's chance for a change of pace. I decided to go with Jack. You know, just get him out of the way first. And with that, Jill packed her bags and set out for the journey of a lifetime.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
Here we are, underwater. My kitchen started off with an icing station and an oven that allowed me to bake a variety of different cake shapes. A heart, a fish, a lime, and a circle. The first level brought in hazmat workers and nurses. I assume they're dealing with some sort of lead poisoning epidemic somewhere in this awful building. They wanted very simple cakes to start with, because this was just the beginning after all. The orders would become more and more complex later on, with customers ordering 2 and even 3-layer cakes. I'd only heard legends about the infamous 3-layer cake, but I'd never actually seen it with my own eyes, so I was skeptical. I started saving money for my first upgrade, and after a couple levels, I had enough. I upgraded the single most important piece of equipment for a bakery. My shoes. No, for real, proper footwear is actually very essential. I'd now be able to walk at a blistering 2 miles per hour instead of 1. This would help me get cakes to new customers, like the Secret Service and Penguin Guy, twice as fast. I purchased a second oven as well as a second froster to make production even faster. I also bought a TV and a cookie oven that would aid in keeping customer patience up. Every level I kept upgrading, until eventually I finally bought the cake topper. I had built up my kitchen infrastructure until it was looking like a proper cake making factory. I have to admit though, I was a little disappointed in the customers for this stage. Like no scuba diver, no mermaids. I feel like that clientele would make sense for a business that's underwater. I mean, we got this kid with a pool floaty, which kind of works, but I feel like that'd make more sense for a pool or beach or something, not Discount Atlantis. Anyway, it doesn't matter because all the customers did have something in common. They all loved the cakes. I kept improving my kitchen, and before long I had purchased all the equipment. Now I just had to fully upgrade all of them. We finished the last level and it looked like we had successfully dragged Jack's theme park out of the Mariana Trench and into the world of overpriced tourist attractions. So we said goodbye to Jack because it was now time to save Risha. The big city. The hustle and bustle of people, the roar of traffic, everything was just so busy. This spot was a prime location for a cake shop. Now let me just take the elevator to the top of the skyscraper and oh my god, there's no one up here. Bro, who would go up 50 floors for a cake? Like what? But to my surprise, the customers came. Risha promised us a firm handshake if we got her business running, so we were gonna give it our all. We set up shop. At this point, we were pretty much just a part of an assembly line. Like any heart and soul that went into making these cakes was long gone. Our cakes were getting bigger and badder, with customers starting to order 2-layer triangle cakes with toppers. Still no sign of the elusive 3-layer cake though, so it probably doesn't exist. We were serving all the big names up here in the big city. Actors, models, even these death metal singers who eat cookies in the most wannabe tough guy way possible. Like, look at this guy, come on. All of them came for my A-list assembly line cakes, and before I knew it, I'd turned this cafe into the hottest spot in the city. All without any help from Risha, of course. I didn't even get the handshake she promised. No more favors from now on. Now that we've saved these freeloader friends from bankruptcy, it was time to go into business for ourselves. Where would we open up shop next? From a business standpoint, where would be the smartest, most economical place to debut our next bakery? Everyone have their guesses in? Everybody ready? That's right, Antarctica.
Well, this sucks.
Now I know what you're thinking. Really? The Antarctic? Hear me out. The expansion of the human race to this great frozen tundra is inevitable, because there's only so much land. I'm just getting a head start, so when everybody else starts to move, we'll already be here to sell cakes to all of them. See, thinking long term. It's genius, really. Now, Risha may have not paid us anything for our troubles, but don't worry. I had an ace in my back pocket. That's right, I stole all her equipment. I mean, technically it's mine, given that I bought it all. But enough about that. We have it here, and I'm ignoring all of Risha's calls, so it's ours now. Now, if you want to go by the story, we actually came down here to make a real difference. I don't exactly know what that difference is. I guess in context of the game, maybe we'd be baking cakes for hungry penguins? We opened our shop, which was hella cozy, to new customers like the Explorer, who kinda sucks because he seemed more impatient than everyone else. Luckily, he loved cookies, as they gave him a full 4 hearts of patience back. The same can't be said for the stupid hazmat guy who didn't receive any patience from cookies. No friend of mine doesn't like my cookies. The burnt cakes go to these guys. Levels got a little harder and things got a little faster, but the process stayed the same. Bake 2 cakes, put on a topper, give to customer. I have to say it was pretty easy since it was just orders for 2-layer cakes. We hadn't seen a 3-layer cake, and it's unlikely we'd ever see one. I mean, after all, oh my god, it was here. This changed the game. Our first experience with the prestigious 3-layer was pretty easy. Too easy. One might even say a piece of cake. We put our head down and trucked our way through the rest of the stage, making a real difference by selling cake to these random people who weren't penguins. And because of our heroic act, mixed with our undeniable charisma and massive ego, we were offered the opportunity of a lifetime. We'd made it. We now had our own baking show. Even if I'm basically just assembling pre-made cakes. Hey, I deserve this. We would be selling cakes in front of a live studio audience, including this absolute unit in the front row. Man's just here for the free cake at the end of the show. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I almost forgot to play this stage. It wasn't until like 3 days after my playthrough that I realized there were actually 6 stages and I'd only played 5. So we came back to the game to make an impact. We kinda plateaued in equipment development speed versus how fast I could move cakes around, so we just started hoarding money. We would not be giving any to charity. This stage introduced sumo wrestlers who had the unique game mechanic of ordering 2 cakes instead of the usual 1. This had my 3 brain cells working overtime, trying to keep track of who got their cake next in the lineup. This stage also had a few gimmick levels in theme with the game show aspect, like the all granny level or the twin month, very fitting. But no matter what the studio threw at us, we handled it with ease. We finished the last level, and although the world of show business was fun, it was time for even bigger and better things. Because of the success of the show, Jill's cakes were now a worldwide phenomenon, so it only made sense for the next expansion to be beyond Earth. That's right, the next shop would be on the moon. No, the actual reason we're needed here is to prevent an invasion. No, I'm not kidding. The government's made contact with alien life, and apparently the only way to make peace is through our shared love of cakes, obviously. But just because they're threatening our extinction doesn't mean they're getting a discount or anything. The moon had new characters for us to serve. There were fake aliens, there were real aliens, and there were astronauts. The astronauts were impatient as hell, so yeah, hated them. We spent most of this stage building up our kitchen more, upgrading all the ovens and frosters. But none of that could have prepared me for the last moon level, as it would be the one to finally humble me. 3-layer cake. After 3-layer cake, after 3-layer cake, they finally showed me who's boss. I had to play this level multiple times to finally beat it. Everyone was just so impatient, and I didn't have enough cookies. But I finally made it through while reaching the superstar goal and completed the moon stage. And with that, we had stopped an intergalactic war between humans and aliens by selling them cake. I received a key of honor that I assumed has the ability to open any gas station bathroom. But even with this great gift, our journey was still not over. And here we had finally arrived at the last stage of Cake Mania 2, or not, depending on which path you chose to get to this point, but this is the path we chose, so we're sticking to it. This would be the final shop of our journey. The future! A future where desserts had been outlawed, causing heart disease to be at an all-time low. We had to put a stop to it. We sold cakes by the palletful to all the customers of the future, who looked very similar to the customers of the present. Ironically, this stage is the only one that didn't have any new characters. The people kept coming in for our delicious cakes, and an uprising was beginning. In a bland, flavorless world, our store was a beacon for anyone who was ready to experience using their taste buds. Customers kept on coming until our cakes, with many added preservatives, were finally legalized. Massive W for humanity. Even the government was addicted to them now, and with aliens even coming in for a slice, our cake empire was now going universal. The best part is we'd effectively cornered the market for the entire universe. No one else knew how to make cake anymore, so they had to get it from us. And now that we had everyone craving our cakes, we'd take it away just as fast as we gave it to them. That's right, it was time to leave. They will live the rest of their lives missing my desserts. That's right, my end goal was just to be a straight menace. And that was the end of our cake making journey. Not bad. My favorite part was the absolute unit in the front row. I can see why this is a classic game for a lot of people. It was still enjoyable and worth a revisit. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed Cake Mania 2. If you like, leave a like. If you subscribe, appreciate you. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, cheers.